more active at night.
They're more active at night, right? And so see how he's trying to get in a nice, dark, cozy space? Because this is a little bright for him. Now, if you guys want to, you can go ahead and touch him right here on his back. How does he feel?
Very soft.
Like the softest animal you've ever touched. You guys want to see? You guys just the back of your hand right here. Cosmo, he's still getting used to coming out and meeting people, so he's a little nervous right now. But this is something we do. We bring them out so they can start getting used to it and realize that it's still a safe, that they're not in any danger out here.
Back and forth.
Hi.
And who are you?
Oh, there's the jaguar. Watch it. Hey, we're live. What? Oh, there's one up here.
He falls down. Look.
Yeah, another one goes on here.
He's in trouble.
He's in trouble? He's in trouble? Okay.
Hey, dude, look at the monkey.
she is 10 years old this year, so she is quite an older lady. She lived usually in captivity about 12 to 13 years. I'm trying to get her up. Usually Grapes do the trick for her, but today not so much. See ya! So Maine wolves, even though they're called wolves, are actually not what you typically think of when you think of a wolf. These guys are solitary animals, meaning that they like to live by themselves or in a pair, male and a female. Now, the male and the female tend to only come together when they're breeding or raising pups. They will raise pups together. So it's sort of like being in a house with your husband, but never seeing your husband unless it's time for kids. So they'll patrol the same territory, scent mark for each other so that they know they're there, but not interact with each other, which is different than what you think about when you think of wolves. Everyone thinks of a pack animal. It's not with these guys. Now, another thing you think of when wolves, you think of meat eaters, right? They eat a lot of meat, they go hunting. These guys are not that way. They're actually what you call omnivores, so they eat more like a bear. So only 20% of her diet is animal protein, so rats and fish and things like that is what we give her. The rest of her diet is fruits and vegetables such as grapes, or sweet potatoes, bananas, apples, and then we have a kibble that is made specifically for Maine wolves because even though they look like a dog, their digestive system is completely different than dogs, so we can't just give her dog food. Now, even though they look like a dog and they eat like a bear, they actually act like a cat. So they're solitary like cats, and they actually use the bathroom the same way. Your cat at home may use a litter box. These guys are the same. They'll pick one area in the whole exhibit, and everybody will use that as the bathroom. Mom, pups, dad, everybody. Which makes cleaning up for me a little bit easier. I don't have to go hunt it down. Another thing that people think about when wolves is what sound does a wolf make? Does anybody know? They go, ow, right? Well, these guys actually don't howl. They do what's called a roar bark, which is exactly what you think of. It's a cross between a roar and a bark. And I'll do it and see if she'll come out. So it sounds a little bit like this. So that's my roar bark. So if you ever hear that, it's usually Rosita talking. Now, here lately, she has not been talking a whole lot, and that's for two reasons. One reason is that it's not breeding season for these guys. These guys actually breed in the fall. So starting in around late September, October is when she'll start doing most of her calling for a mate to look for her husband. Now, another reason is because her husband passed away. We used to have a male named Serrato, and he passed away at 12 years old this past year. So she is now all alone. However, have no fear. These guys are part of a breeding program called SSP, Species Survival Program, which means a whole bunch of us animal nerds get together and we track genetics and we track where the animals are on the continent, in between zoos, private facilities, internationally, and we make a stud book of everybody, and we get to decide who gets to go together and have pups. Well, she's been recommended to have a new husband, and hopefully we are hoping that he will be here next week. And he will be in quarantine in the back half of the exhibit, and hopefully you'll get to see him walking around back there checking out his new wife. So does anybody have any questions about these guys? Now this time of day she sleeps a lot. They're what you call crepuscular, usually, animals, which means they like to hunt during dawn and dusk for the most part, and that's pretty common because it's hot during the day. Now down south, in South America where they're from, there is a fruit that's called a wolf fruit, and the reason being is because the wolves like to eat it a lot. And it looks like a tomato, but it's not a tomato. And it grows on a tree instead of like a vine like a tomato does. So that's called the wolf fruit, and down south that comprises most of their diet. So hopefully she'll come out. Now, normally we have this third of the exhibit high with grass, and usually it's called pampas grasses, and that's for the well-being of the animals. So if you're out here and you can't see her and you see those tall grasses, just try to look around in there, and she's probably hiding, and that's because that's what they do in the wild. Now, she's got those tall, long legs if you saw her when she was walking around. And that's to help her stay up tall above the grasses so she can hunt. And she has those big, huge ears. So when people come and actually howl, it actually hurts her ears because she has really, really, really good hearing. She can hear the mice down in the ground. And so then she can jump up in the air and pounce down on them and eat them. Yes, ma'am.
Does she have babies?
She used to. She's actually had 2 sets of babies. Our first one, we had one boy, and his name was Inigo Montoya, for those of you who like The Princess Bride. That's what it's from. And he actually went to the Denver Zoo, and he is now a father himself. And then the next set that we had a boy and a girl named Cruz and Sophia. And Sophia went to Fossil Rim, which is just south of Dallas in Glen Rose, Texas. Where one of our rhinos actually went to. And she's been paired up with a male there, and I have not heard if she has had puppies yet. Hopefully maybe this year. Unfortunately, our male, Cruz, he was supposed to go to Australia, but he passed away before that could happen. He actually had some heart failure that we didn't know about, and he ended up dying of a heart attack very suddenly and very young. And so we were a little saddened by that. But hopefully this year she will have puppies again. Usually if she does have puppies, they're born in December or January. So she'll breed late September, October, and then have her puppies in December and January. That was a good question. Any other questions? Now these guys are called maned wolves because if she'll get up, she has dark fur on the back of her neck, just like a lion would. So it makes it look like she's got a big mane like a lion, and her hair is actually longer on her neck, so that's why they call them manes. So it looks like she's got a mane on. Yes, ma'am?
Do they always live in the woods?
They live in what's called, grassy areas and fields. It's not the woods like we think of wolves here in North America. They actually live in like open plains and tall grassy pampas areas in South America. And sometimes people down south in South America think they blame the wolves for their livestock going missing, but these guys don't hunt livestock, so they're sometimes unnecessarily persecuted and killed, and that's partially what's leading to their endangered status. Another reason is people think that they're magical. So if they ingest part of the wolf, like their organs or hearts or liver, or if they, the bones of the animal, if they crush them up and eat that, then that'll give them magical powers, which is not true at all. So that also helps to lead to their downfall. And a big, big one is distemper. Does anybody know what distemper is? No? Distemper is something that dogs get. And down in South America, there are some impoverished areas where people don't have the money to take their dogs to a vet to get all their shots and all their vaccinations. So these guys can actually catch distemper from the household dogs running around and not being vaccinated. So that is another big reason that these guys are going extinct. And of course, the destruction of their home by people for cropland and for livestock.
How long do they typically live?
In captivity, 12 to 13 years is pretty much the max. Very, very rarely you'll have one that gets a little bit older than that. In the wild, it's like 8 to 10. So around a dog, a little bit younger than a dog, your household dog would be. So we have her for hopefully another 2 more years out of her. And so we're hoping to get at least 1 more round of puppies out of her. We'll see though. If she's got to like her new husband first.
Right. That's a task in itself.
Yes, yes. Did y'all have any questions about our maned wolf?
You can, Liliana.
I'm gonna try her up again real quick for a second, and I'll be right back.
They like to hide.
So as you can see, when she walks around, she's got really long legs. Again, that's to help keep her up above the grasses in her native area. And if she'll walk first, you'll also see that she's got kind of a weird gait. Looks a little different than your household dog. And that's for two reasons. One is they walk left side first, then right side. So when we walk, we tend to cross our arms and legs like this. They don't. They do the same side. Left side goes, right side goes, left side goes. And then when they're puppies, they actually start off crisscross. And as they get older, then they turn to that same side gait. And that, well, it makes for a very interesting puppy. When they start the switch over, they stumble a lot and they just look really goofy when they're trying to walk and figure it out. Another reason is their back legs are longer than their front legs. So it gives her sort of like a gait like a horse, instead of like our dogs that have the even back and front legs. Now as you can see, she's got black legs and a black nose and her black mane, and there she goes again. She's not having it today. When they're puppies, they're born completely black, except for a little tiny white tip of white on their tail. And then as they get older, it starts with their nose and their ears, and slowly the red will come in and go down their body, and then they'll just end up with black on their legs and the white on their tail, which is cute. Normally they have 2 puppies, and for some reason, on average, it's a boy and a girl. But that's just the average, and we don't know why. It's just an odd combination. But they can have anywhere from 1 to 4 puppies. But typically it's 2, and typically a male and a female. But occasionally you'll get 2 boys or 2 girls, things like that. Now these guys are from South America. So down there they don't have wolves like we think about wolves. They have these guys instead. And these guys, like I said earlier, are not like the wolves we talk about here in North America. When you think of wolves here, what do you think about? Like, what noises do they make? They howl, right?
Yeah.
Howl at the moon. Well, these guys don't do that. People will come up to the exhibit and start howling to get her up, that's like if you're screaming French at an American. She doesn't understand. All she knows is her ears hurt. She's got big, big ears to listen to everything, and someone is yelling at her. So what they do instead is what's called a roar bark. I did it earlier, I'll do it again. And it sounds like this. She perked up a little bit, turned her ears towards me. And they do that to signal to each other their territory or talk to one another. They're solitary animals. They don't hunt in a pack like the rest of wolves that we think about. And they also don't eat a lot of meat. Only about 20% of their diet is meat. So they eat fruits and vegetables. In South America, they have a vegetable that looks like a tomato, but it grows on a tree, and it's called a wolf fruit. And that's mainly what they eat, along with some mice and some birds. Here at the zoo, we give them things like grapes and for treats, and sweet potato and apples and carrots and bananas. She loves bananas. And then a kibble that is made specifically for maned wolves, because even though they look like a dog, they're completely different than a dog. They look like a dog, but they eat like a bear. So they have an omnivore, so they eat a little bit of everything. And they act like a cat. So cats are solitary, these guys are solitary. And they use a litter box. So they'll pick one spot in the exhibit, and everyone goes to the bathroom in that one spot. And hopefully we are hoping that next week, or within the coming weeks, we will get our male maned wolf for her. Her husband unfortunately passed away last year. And so she's been recommended to breed with another male. And he should be here, hopefully, next week. And he would be in the back half of the exhibit, so you could probably see him if you're out here again, walking around and checking out and sniffing and trying to see his new wife. Now these guys, they just mate with each other in a pair bond, and they share a territory, but they don't ever see each other unless they have to. So it's like living in the same house with your husband, but you don't have to see him unless you're raising the kids.
Heaven.
He'll defend your territory, and you'll defend yours, and you'll have lots of food for each other and defend your food. And you'll know he's there because you can smell him, he's in the bathroom, but you'll never have to see him unless you're having kids. So, did y'all have any questions for me about her? Well, her name is Rosita, and she's 10 years old. So if you ever come out, you can holler at her, call her Rosita or Rosie or Sita or Sita Bonita. We have lots of nicknames for her, and sometimes she'll perk up. This time of the day, most of the animals are relaxing since it is hot, and typically most of the prey for the day is resting as well, so there's no reason to go out hunting. So especially our lions right now will be taking their naps, and so Rosie is too.
How long do they live?
How long do they live? Great question. In captivity, they can live up to 13 years. In the wild, it's about 8 years, 8 to 10 years. So she's 10 years old. We're hoping to have her for at least 2 more years, and hopefully we'll get some more puppies out of her. Well, say hi to Facebook, guys. Y'all are all on Facebook too. We're doing live stuff with Facebook, so tune in all spring break, and maybe you'll be on it. Anyway, say hi to everybody.
Good job, Krista.
Y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy the zoo. If you have any questions for me, I'll come out there and stand around for a little while. I'm sorry she's not being as cooperative as usual. But if you're looking for her and you can't find her, usually check in the bushes over here by the tree. Look for her orange ears. And when our grasses over here on the left start growing up, she usually will hide in there too. So just keep an eye out for her. The best time of day to come see her is in the morning and towards the end of the day, after around 4, because she's up and she's looking for food and she's ready to go and she starts hunting. So thanks for watching.